Hi everyone, I'm going to be doing another layout using the Saturday collection from Little Yellow Bicycle, and this is my third layout with this collection, and I've already done, well, 2 layouts and a mini album. So this one I've picked out a couple of things ahead of time that I wanted to use with these cute photos. I did a mini album, which I'm actually going to give my sister with some of these photos of her cute little baby, Chase. And so I wanted to make a layout of my own for my own scrapbook, so because I will be giving that one to her, most likely, if I can part with it. I think I'll be able to part with it. So I was originally thinking I would use this as the background paper, this as an accent paper, but then I wanted to use, in my last layout, I cut off part of this, and I really like cutting up these die cut papers because you get a lot more use out of them. So I was thinking about, you know, putting it something like this, and then I was thinking maybe kind of more like this. I don't know. Oh, you can't even see all that. Anyways, yes, I've got too much stuff here. The nice thing about scrapping with one collection all at once, instead of kind of pulling out different things for every project, the nice thing about doing a whole bunch of scrapbooking with one collection is that you get to keep out all your little scraps and stuff and use it on the next layout, because oftentimes they will work. Yeah, so I'm just kind of, I'm actually leaning towards this being my background paper, even though it is a lot more busy than what I would typically pick for a background. And I have this die cut paper, which I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to position. I have these 2 photos, which don't work. I always have trouble doing one landscape and one portrait. Like, it's easier to do, you know, if they're both going the same way. So I'm thinking about actually cutting this one, trimming it so that it's more of a horizontally oriented picture, and or even layering the 2 of them and cutting off the top, or I don't know exactly. So I'm gonna do something with this banner because it's just too cute, and if I use the banner, it brings in some of this green, which isn't really present very much throughout this collection, so I think that's a nice opportunity to bring in a new color in this layout that hasn't been in the previous ones. But I'm just really loving this pop of red on that blue. It's just so nice. I love, love, love that piece. So I'm probably going to add some of my own banner pieces to this, because I don't think it's going to be quite enough pieces for what I want to do. I'd like to do like a 2-section banner. So that will probably involve cutting some more pieces. And what else am I thinking? These are just other little cute pieces that, oh, maybe I do have enough pieces there to do a 2-section banner. I don't know. What else am I thinking? I'm just leaving, these are the small letter stickers that I pulled out for other projects, and they really go nicely with these colors. So, so yeah, this is Kaiser Craft Latte. These are the Cosmo Cricket Tiny Type. I love these. This is my second package of these that I went through, so I just ordered more because I love, love, love the navy blue, which I don't use a whole lot of navy blue, but I think that's what makes these letters even more appealing. They kind of stand out against most of my layouts. Oops, I got garbage in there. These cute little Jenny Bolin Studio vintage red letter stickers are super cute. And again, it's kind of like the cream and the reds, and then I've got a couple of different reds. This one is more of an orangey red. I haven't used this yet, but I've got it pulled out, and I've been using these on some of these layouts as well. It's more of a real red. And then these are really too sparkly. They're kind of the right color. They're a little bit off, and they're a little too sparkly for the worn look that goes with these, so I'm going to put these away. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use them. I like the size of these ones though, but they're just too sparkly. Putting those back. So that's sort of just my thought process. I'm going to put you on fast forward and we'll see how this one goes. So here I'm going to use gesso to just lighten up and I guess tone down the background paper. And I'm just using the foam brush to spread it out a little bit to make it a thinner coat. And sometimes I'll use a really thin mixture of white acrylic paint and water to do this to get like a whitewash effect, but I already had gesso out on my table, so I'm just experimenting with some colors here, trying to pick the blue that I think is going to look the best on this layout. So I went with that darker blue, and those are glimmer mists that instead of misting, I'm just splatting them. And that one is called Jack Frost, I believe. And so I really like how the combination of the white paint splatters and the Jack Frost, and then at the last minute there I just decided it needed a little bit of brown just to kind of anchor it a little bit, I guess. And here I am just wrinkling up that beautiful piece of paper. That was a little hard to do. I wasn't sure if that was going to turn out good or not. So, but I did end up liking the look of it. Those papers are so special that it's sometimes hard to cut into them or to do a technique with them. But I really like the outcome of this. I like how it looked. So, and yeah, so just cutting off the edges there. And I'm going to do some doodling around the edges of this. And I'm just drawing some lines, 3 lines on every edge. Oh, and then I just added a couple of little details to the doodling, just a little like hash marks and stuff. You'll see it on the close-ups probably. And now I'm just trying to fiddle with the picture placement. I decided not to cut that longer portrait photo into a smaller cropped version of a landscape photo, just because I liked the detail in the basket. I think that's sort of the purpose. That's probably why the photo was composed the way it was to show the depth of the basket. So I didn't want to cover that all up. Now I'm trying to come up with a title here. I actually entitled it on my computer. I called it Basket Chase instead of Basket Case, but I thought that wasn't a very nice title. So I'm calling it Basket of, and I'm trying to decide here if I'm going to do Basket of Love or Basket of Joy. Both of them use, so I always try to pick words that use unusual letters in my thickers so I can use up. So joy has both a J and a Y, and love has a V that also isn't used very much, but I went with Basket of Joy mostly because I liked how a smaller word would look under. I didn't want the red and white thickers to be going out further than the white thickers above. So sometimes it's just about how it looks. So now I'm trying to decide on how I'm going to embellish this layout now that I have sort of a base for it. And I'm going to put some wood grain scallops using my EK Success scallop border there. And that's going to be kind of set the tone for the angle of the photos. So I just wanted to make sure that I angled it the right way there so I wouldn't have to pull it up again. And so sorry that the bottom part of my work surface is off camera here, but I'll try to do my best to explain to you what I'm doing. I'm just putting another layer of background paper there, so I pulled up the scallop so I could layer that underneath. The nice thing about the ATG is that the adhesive can be pulled up if you're careful about it. And so again, I'm fussing with what I'm going to do with that photo, if I'm going to stick a little scallop under it or not. And so there's my base, and I'm going to put a couple more strips there. And although I like to scrapbook with, you'll notice that my workspace is very, very messy when I'm scrapbooking. I like to do that so I can see everything that I have out, but what ends up happening is sometimes things get lost, and I think I lost the zigzag piece there. I'm pretty sure I did because I put that on later. So I'm just doing some doodling before I layer the things together. And that's the reason that I put down the zigzag piece, was to do some doodling, but then I kind of lost it and never went back to it until the end. So now what am I doing here? I'm choosing my photo placement and committing here. sometimes you just got to commit and stick it down and work with what you've got. So now again, more fussing. I knew something was needed at that bottom corner on the left, but I just didn't know what it was going to be, and I ended up going with that wood grain scallop just to bring the wood grain over a little bit on the page. Now I knew that I didn't in this case want to put a journaling or a title frame, I guess, behind my title. I often put frames or little journaling spots or something behind my title. Sorry, my head is totally getting in the way there. But I didn't want to in this case because that beautiful die cut stitched paper was there, so I didn't want to cover it up. So I just went ahead and put my title on since I knew what it was going to be and where it was going to be. And fiddling with it. And I'm not sure what I'm looking for here. I kept losing things. So I'm going to die cut some stars for this layout. And that's just a piece of red cardstock from my stash. And that's an MFT border die. It's one of my favorite border dies. So I use it a lot with this collection because those red stars look fantastic with the Saturday collection. So I cut a bunch of them all at once. I'm just showing you a little close up there of how I, use my paper piercer to poke out those little star confetti pieces that are left behind. Now I'm going to cut some more zigzags with my Tasteful Trims Sizzix die. And I keep the offcuts as well because the zigzag on the one edge looks really cool too for some things. And so now I'm going to put some zigzags there. Oops, I forgot to do my doodling, so I'm going back and doing that. Again, it's nice to not glue your photos all the way down, so you can always pick them up like that if you need to. And so there I am using a new piece of zigzag because I lost the other piece. Just fiddling a little bit with where I want to put it, if I wanted it to go under the photo or over the photo. And now I'm going to decide where those little stars are going to go. And I like to staple those stars. They look really great stapled. Sometimes I'll glue them and staple them, but in this case I'm just stapling them, so they'll be a little bit more loose. Now I'm going to try to figure out what I'm going to do with this banner. This is my first time ever doing a two-part banner. It goes in two different directions, so it's something new for me. And I wanted to add some pieces to the banner because I wanted it to be, I just needed more pieces. And so I'm using a Stampin' Up! Banner punch. There are lots of different companies that make those pennant banner punches. And I just happen to have the Stampin' Up! One. And so I'm wanting this piece to be more comparable to the chipboard. And even though you're only supposed to punch one layer of thickness with those punches, you can get away, at least I could get away with punching the two. So I glued the two together just to make that banner piece a little bit more similar to the chipboard pieces. It's not quite as thick, but it's certainly a little bit thicker than a piece of paper. So now I have my banner all created, and now it's just a matter of figuring out what pieces are going to go where. And I ended up putting a little piece of wood grain paper over top of that. And then I'm just showing you that I found a little tiny border stamp that matches the borders that are already on those pennant. So I'm just stamping those, and sorry my head is in the way, guys. It depends on how I have my tripod set up. It doesn't always go in exactly the same spot, so sometimes you're going to see more of my crazy hair. So I'm pop dotting some of those pieces that are not chipboard just so that they'll again have a bit more depth to them. So it's not obvious that I ran out of pieces. I want to make it look like it's sort of planned to be all different pennant pieces instead of looking like I ran out, which I did run out. Or didn't have enough pieces. Now, I'm never sure exactly how to put my string on my pennants, and every time I do it slightly differently. Sometimes I use my little tiny 1/16 inch circle punch, and it's just a Fisker's punch that you can get anywheres. And sometimes I glue them, and this time I used glossy accents to kind of glue the twine in place. And now I'm just gonna decorate the banner pieces with little interesting tiny punch things. I got some hearts and some butterflies and one of those stars and a little chipboard button as well there. So I'm just going to kind of fiddle a little bit with what goes where. I really like how that banner turned out. And again, that Zig two-way glue pen is so liquidy that I do like to use it on wax paper just so I don't get my work surface all goopy. I find that it's really hard to clean up. It doesn't wipe off your table surface as easily as some other glues. That and the Zig is the same. It leaves it just a really gooey stickiness behind. So I always like to use wax paper when I'm using that. And so now I'm just using Scotch tape. No one's going to see the back, so I'm lazy about it and just use Scotch tape. So now I'm going to try to figure out what elements I want to add to this layout. I have one of those, I'm just grabbing one of those Tim Holtz playing pieces, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to use because, or if I can't even remember if I used one at all. Yeah, I did use one, I remember now. So yeah, I have one of those Tim Holtz game pieces in amongst the Saturday collection sticker elements. Basically, I just picked off all of the circle elements, and I'm going to do a couple of clusters of circles. And you'll notice in the photo that I added a couple of circles at the end there too that aren't even included in this video. And the 3 is because he's 3 months old, and so I'm using those little tiny Jenny Bolin circle vintage red letter stickers and to say months. And then I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do to make that 3 fit in, because it's a very different element than anything else. It's more yellowy. So I think it looks kind of weird down there all by itself. And I don't think I come up with a good solution in this video, but you'll see when you look at the pictures that I've added a couple of more circles to that little bottom cluster in the left, just to make it look a little bit more like a cluster instead of 3 random circles that got put there. So thanks for watching, guys.